Hello guys! How are you today? I hope you are doing fine. Welcome to H2SAFETY Expert Reacts. Today, we're gonna be reacting to interesting facts about Vietnam. Shall we go on? Shall we start? And then, I will play the video. Oh, there's a
Hello
vendor.
there. In this video we're going to talk about Vietnam. Vietnam is a Southeast Asian country on the South China Sea, known for its beaches, rivers, Buddhist pagodas, and bustling cities. First of all, a little bit about history.
So much history.
The northern part of Vietnam was for centuries occupied by Imperial China. Then the country was colonized by the French in the middle of 19th century. Following the Japanese occupation in the 1940s, the Vietnamese fought French rule in the First Indochina War, eventually expelling the French in 1954. Then came the Vietnam War between the two politically divided North Vietnam and South Vietnam. Conflict was intensified by heavy intervention by the United States on the side of South
also,
Vietnam
and North Vietnam.
and USSR on the side of North Vietnam from 1965 to 1973. The war ended with a North Vietnamese victory in 1975, and the country was then unified under a communist government but remained impoverished and politically isolated. In 1986, the government initiated a series of economic and political reforms which began Vietnam's path towards integration into the world economy. With an estimated 94.6 million people as of 2016, it is the world's 14th
it is
most
almost
populous
the same
country.
in the Philippines, the
The
population.
capital city of Vietnam is Hanoi, the country's second largest city by population, 7.7 million people. Hanoi enjoys a rapidly developing real estate market. The economic structure underwent important shifts, with tourism, finance, and banking now playing an increasingly important role. Ho Chi Minh City, formerly Saigon, is the largest city in Vietnam with a population of 8.4 million people.
I heard the Saigon.
The city's population is expected to grow to 13.9 million by 2025. The city has a hot tropical climate all year round. It has a lot of French colonial landmarks and Vietnamese war history museums. Lots of international corporations like Intel, Toshiba, Panasonic, and Fujifilm have
Also,
all
it
opened
is
up their
industrial
production
city
facilities
also.
here. Some say the city might be the next Singapore. Da Nang. Da Nang is a coastal city in central Vietnam, known for its sandy beaches and history as a French colonial port. Population is 1.3 million. Nha
In
Trang.
Vietnam is
Nha
French.
Trang is a coastal
Colonized
resort city
by
known
French
for its
and
beaches,
Philippines.
diving sites, and offshore
Colonized by
islands.
Spain.
Its main beach is a long curving stretch along Tra Phu Street, backed by promenade, hotels, and seafood restaurants. Plenty of places to eat, drink, and have a Vietnamese massage. But contrary to
Vietnam
Thailand,
massage.
there's
I
no
like
sex
that.
industry in Vietnam. Nha Trang has developed into a popular destination for international tourists.
Thai massage and Philippine
Da
massage
Lat is a
also.
city in southern Vietnam's central highlands. It's centered
So
around
relaxing,
lake
maybe.
and golf courses, and surrounded by hills, pine forests, lakes, and waterfalls. The city was developed as a resort by the French at the beginning of the 20th century, and many reminders of its colonial heritage still remain. It even has its own Eiffel Tower. How cool is that? Known as the
Yes,
city of eternal
there's
spring
also
for its distinctive temperate
little
climate.
plants there, Eiffel Tower.
The communist system
Landmark.
led the country into a deep crisis in the middle of 1980s, and from the 1990s, the country began to liberalize the economy, which allowed to achieve significant economic growth and raise the standards of living for the population. In 2016, Vietnam was the second largest producer and exporter of coffee, second only to Brazil, and that despite the fact that the total area of Vietnam is almost 30 times smaller,
In
with
Philippines
1.3
is
million tons exported
coconut.
in 2012, a value of $1.4
The second largest
billion.
producer today.
By the way, coffee trees are not the indigenous culture of this area and were brought here by the French in 1855. Vietnam is the largest exporter of dragon fruit. Ever
What?
heard of this one? Another name is pitahaya. You can see endless
There
cactus
is also
plantations with red
there in
fruits many
Philippines,
places
dragon
around
fruit.
Vietnam. Vietnam is the leading exporter of cashew nuts and black pepper. Agriculture still plays an important role and accounts for 21% of the GDP and employs 52% of the population. However, manufacturing has already overtaken agriculture and accounts for 40% of GDP, and this includes production of electric cables, cell phones, and computer parts, as well as clothing and footwear. Although Vietnam is a relative newcomer to the oil industry, it is currently the third largest oil producer in
There is
Southeast
too much
Asia.
motorcycle
Like
in
its
Vietnam.
northern
Almost
neighbor,
all
China, Vietnam
motorcycle is
continues to use 5-year
the
economic
primary
plans
transportation
that
there.
got started back in the USSR. According to a 2005 forecast by Goldman Sachs, the
Interesting.
Vietnamese economy will become the world's 21st largest by 2025. Average salary today is just $150. But hey, back in the year 2000, it was $300 per year. The crime level is extremely low, at a rate of France and Finland. In large cities, you can see some petty crime as pickpocketing and snatching handbags.
Too
and
much
motorcycles.
motorcycle, maybe also
Therefore,
bicycle.
You just gotta watch your stuff like anywhere else in the world. Tourism is developing at a staggering pace. In the year 2000, the country was visited by 4.7 million foreign tourists, and in 2017, almost 13 million. Most tourists come from China, South Korea, Japan, Taiwan, the United States, and Russia. Mune, by the way, might be the best place for kitesurfing in Asia. Phu Quoc is gaining popularity as a secluded tropical island with pristine beaches. In the north of Vietnam, you gotta visit Ha Long Bay, a UNESCO World Heritage Site, a popular tourist destination.
Oh, sim in the
In southern
Philippines.
Vietnam, a cup of coffee is often accompanied by a cup of cold tea. Typically, the coffee is prepared
Cold
in
tea?
single servings in stainless steel coffee filters known as phin. The Vietnamese coffee is rich, flavorful, sweet, and perfect on a cool day. The coffee is slowly dripping into the glass and mixed in with the condensed milk,
Really?
making it almost a meditation practice. Vietnam is also famous for Kopi Luwak, or civet coffee. It's the kind of coffee that includes part
Yeah, I
digested
see
coffee
that before.
cherries eaten and
My
defecated
friend
by
Vietnam
Asian
and my coworker
palm civet.
Vietnam
At the same time, per
bought
capita
that
consumption
and
of
put
coffee
there
in
in
Vietnam
one
is
glass
really low.
and he
About
continually
95%
day
of
by
coffee
day
is
get from there,
exported.
and he's
Vietnam holds the
he
second place
speak
in
to me
terms
that
of
it
rice
is very good
consumptions per
coffee,
capita.
good for
Typical
immune
Vietnamese
system in the body.
eats 169 kilograms of rice per year. No wonder they have so many rice varieties. Soup pho is one of the most popular Vietnamese
That coffee
dishes.
is
This
some
is a soup
for
with rice
boosting
noodles,
immune system
most often with
and
beef,
the
although
blood
sometimes
flow,
it's served with
your
chicken and seafood.
maybe
Soup pho
sex
is served in
sexuality
almost
appearance
every
like
cafe
that.
and
He speak to
restaurant.
me.
The Vietnamese eat it with chopsticks, mainly for breakfast. Vietnamese start cooking soup before dawn, so that by 5 or 6 in the morning they will feed the people hurrying to work. A large choice of seafood, coffee shops in general. Here you can try some exotic food like turtle meat, scorpion, ostrich.
What?
Eat the heart of a snake and drink the blood of a cobra.
What?
Although many Vietnamese have already learned to treat dogs as pets and not as food, some Vietnamese still eat
Maybe
dogs and
it's
cats.
bring too much power.
Vietnamese are quite friendly people. They sometimes look more gloomy than Thai people, but when you communicate with them, they start smiling. In Vietnam,
Stop
there are
smiling.
many Buddhist temples, and there is a misconception that most of the Vietnamese are Buddhists, but in reality, 80% of the country's population are atheists and followers of local animistic cults. Animism is the
Interesting.
belief in the reincarnation of all nature and the existence of souls and spirits. So Buddhists make up only 9% of the population, and Catholics about 7%.
Ah,
Vietnam
there
is
are
seen
also
like a
Catholic
very
there.
athletic nation. In parks, you can often see them working out, doing gymnastics on the street. It's a typical picture. In Vietnam, it's difficult to buy clothes of a large size. The Vietnamese are very tiny people. A guy who's 1 meter 75 centimeters is considered
No,
very tall.
it's
and
almost
girls in
the
such
same
size
also in
practically do
Philippines.
not exist. The sizes
The
of
average
medium
height.
and large in stores are extremely rare. Many Vietnamese
Some
walk
are also
around the
other
city wearing
tall
masks on their
and
faces.
medium
You
height.
might think that this is protection against dust, though the Vietnamese themselves say that this way they protect the face from the sun's rays. White skin is considered the standard of beauty in Vietnam. Dark skin is associated with heavy physical work in the fields and low social status. The
Ah,
most common name in Vietnam is Nguyen. This name is now held by about 40% of the population
Nguyen.
of Vietnam. All school kids wear a uniform. In the junior classes, it's a mandatory element of clothing. They wear a white and blue uniform in high
Yeah.
school. In many
This is
schools,
kind-
children start studying at around 7 in the morning. Young people are eager to study English. Some are given the task at school
but
to interview
Vietnam,
foreigners
but
walking around
Vietnamese
the
now
city.
is too much good in English also.
In Vietnam, motorbikes are extremely popular. They're way
Yes,
more
I
popular
see
than
that.
cars. Traffic might seem absolutely meaningless and ruthless and
Yeah,
chaotic
maybe
and
there's no too
unsystematic
much
to you
traffic
at
because
first, but when you join in as a
all
driver,
tr-
some rules
primary
start to make sense.
transportation
The
is
traffic system
motorbike
has
or
been organized
bicycle.
in such a way that street lights are not so numerous. And somehow all this chaos is working. But don't think that pedestrian crossings in Vietnam are for pedestrians. They, just like anything else in Vietnam, is for motorbikes.
Yes,
At first, for
it's
tourists,
good.
it
It's
seems
too much good in the street
impossible
because
to cross a
motorbike,
multi-lane
not too
road.
much
A
traffic.
pedestrian crossing for
Maybe
bikes is just a picture on asphalt.
the traffic
The thing is, you have to
is
go
limited.
confidently and slowly. Motorcyclists are very maneuverable, and they will find a way to
And
go around
motorcycle,
you.
you
The
can
main thing is
operate
to
this
be
one
predictable. So every time
precisely
crossing the
and
road,
too
you feel like you've
much
achieved something.
easy to maneuver.
Motorbike
Easy
became an
to
important part of
make
the
it
culture.
another
Vietnamese
direction
managed to
or another way.
transport
You can
large
find another
loads
way.
of goods on them, take their children to kindergarten. I've seen 4 or 5 people
Interesting.
traveling on a single motorbike. In Vietnam, only the domestic driving license are valid. International ones are not accepted. So in some cases, you will
Yeah.
have to give
You
bribes to
cannot
the
rent
traffic
a motorcycle
police.
there or
Domestic flights
either
are
bike
quite
so that you
affordable.
can transfer,
For example,
go to one
a
place to
one-way
another.
ticket from Nha Trang to Ho Chi Minh for 2 people
And
can be around $40. One of the most memorable symbols of Vietnam is the merchants in the streets and markets in cone-shaped straw hats. Historically, such hats protected people from the sun, coconuts falling from the trees, and snakes. Driving in Vietnam is slow and monotonous. It's gonna take you 3.5 hours
Yeah.
to drive just
there's
200
so much
kilometers.
high-rise building there.
Take the plane
now.
instead if possible. Vietnam is developing at a flabbergasting pace. In all major cities, there's a construction boom. Investments are coming from all over
Maybe
the world.
Vietnam is
Vietnam now
too
has
much
to balance
interesting
between
places.
communism, capitalism,
Maybe they go
and
for
Eastern values.
tourism.
What an
And
interesting
the
mix.
tourists can attract
What do
to
you
the
think of
beautiful
Vietnam?
places and destination. It's amazing, beautiful scenery. Oh, there's a desert. Okay, based on what I see about interesting facts about Vietnam, there are too much things to offer Vietnam, especially the tourism, the beautiful beaches, beautiful scenery, and more historical landmarks in their history. A lot of time, the French colonized their country, almost same as Philippines by Spaniards, by Spain. There are too much cultures that adapt from them. Also, other nationality. For example, Japanese also in Philippines, occupied also by Japanese, also same as Vietnam during the war, and also American. But for me, there's also interesting facts that maybe now is good for their country to boost their tourism, especially the tourism or other investment for country or for capitalism. Okay, thank you guys for watching. Please leave like a comment and subscribe to my channel.